National Service Training Program. This course is one of the three components under National Service Training Program Act of 2001, designed to encourage, develop, and train the students to contribute to the general welfare and the betterment of life for the members of the community, for the enhancement of its facilities, especially those devoted to improving health, education, environment, entrepreneurship, safety, recreation, and moral of the citizenry and other social welfare services. So in Module 1, Orientation on the NSTP Law, RA 9163, and Revised Implementing Rules and Regulations. So to overview this, as I've said, it is a Republic Act 9163 or the NSTP Act of 2001. So this is an act establishing the National Training Program for tertiary level students, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7077 and Presidential Decree number 1706, and for the other purposes. Its guiding principles are anchored on the role of the youth in nation building. So what are the objectives of this? First is to identify the provisions of Republic Act number 9163 that are applicable to the respective colleges. Second, assess the implementation of CWTS program in the university based on 2006 Revised Implementing Rules and Regulations of the NSTP. Third, contribute their share in improving the quality of life of the people in the community. Fourth, take active involvement in the community activities as required by Executive Order number 579. And the last one is to value the contents of the syllabus as vital to their development as responsible citizens with strong sense of nationalism, volunteerism, and leadership skills. So the solid provision of RA 9163, the National Service Training Program or the NSTP Act of 2001. So Republic of the Philippines, Congress of the Philippines, Metro Manila 12th Congress, first regular session began and held in Metro Manila on Monday, the 23rd day of July, 2001. So these are the Republic Act number 9163, an act establishing the National Service Training Program for the tertiary level students, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7077, Presidential Decree number 1706, and for the other purpose. And be it entered by the Senate and House Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled. So in Section 1, this act shall known as the National Service Training Program Act of 2001. Section 2, the Declaration of Policy. So it is hereby affirmed that prime duty of the government to serve and protect its citizens. In turn, it shall be responsibility of all citizens to defend security of the state, and in fulfillment thereof, the government may require each citizen to render personal, military, or civil service. In recognizing the youth's vital role in nation building, the state shall promote civic consciousness among the youth and shall develop their physical, moral, spiritual, intellectual, and social well-being. It shall inculcate in the youth patriotism, nationalism, and in advance their involvement on public and civic affairs. In pursuit of these goals, the youth, the most valuable resource of the nation, shall be motivated, trained, organized, and mobilized in military training, literacy, civic welfare, and other similar endeavors in the service of the nation. In Section 3, the definition of terms. For the purposes of this Act, the following are hereby defined as follows. When we say NSTP, this is the National Service Training Program. This program is aimed at enhancing civic consciousness and defense preparedness in the youth by developing the ethics of services and patriotism while undergoing training in any of these three program components. So its various components are specially designed to enhance the youth's activity contribution to the general welfare. So number 1 is the Reserve Officer Training Corps, or in short, this is the ROTC. So in ROTC, this is a program institutionalized under Section 38 and 39 of Republic Act number 7077, designed to promote military training into tertiary level students in order to motivate, train, organize, and mobilize them for national defense preparedness. The second one is the Literacy Training Service, or the LTS. And this program designed to train students to become teachers of literacy and numeracy skills to school children, out-of-school youth, and other segments of society in need of their service. And the last one is the Civic Welfare Training Service, or the CWTS, refers to program or activities contributory to the general welfare and the betterment of life for the members of the community or the enhancement of its facilities, especially those developed to improving health, education, environment, entrepreneurship, safety, recreation, and morals of the citizenry. So this component shall refers to the service component of the NSTP as enumerated in Section 4 of this Act. In Section 4, establishing of the National Service Training Program. So there is hereby established a National Service Training Program which shall form part of the curricula of all baccalaureate degree courses and of at least 2 years technical vocational courses, and is a requisite for graduation, consisting of the following service components. So these are the ROTC, the LTS, and the CWTS. So the ROTC under the NSTP shall instill patriotism, moral virtues, respect for rights of civilians, and adherence to the Constitution, among others. So citizenship training shall be given emphasis in all three program components. So the Commission on Higher Education and the Technical Education and Skill Development Authority, in consultation with the Department of National Defense, Philippine Association of State Universities and Colleges, Coordinating Council of Private Educational Associations of the Philippines, and other concerned government agency may design and implement such other program components as may be necessary in consonance with the provisions of this Act. So, pwede nilang baguhin yan. Okay? In Section 5, what are the coverage? The student, male and female, of any baccalaureate degree course or at least 2-year technical vocational courses in public and private educational institutions shall be required to complete one of the NSTP components as a requisite for graduation. And mind you, this is a 3-unit subject per semester. So we have 2 semesters. In Section 3, duration and equivalent course unit, each of the aforementioned NSTP program components shall be undertaken for an academic period of 2 semesters. So in lieu of the 2-semester program for any of the components of the NSTP, a 1-summer program may be designed, formulated, and adopted by the DND, the CHED, and the TESDA. In Section 7, NSTP offering in higher and technical vocational educational institutions. So all the higher and technical vocational institutions, public and private, must offer at least one of the program components, provided that state universities and colleges shall offer the ROTC component and at least one of the other components provided herein. Provided further that private higher and technical vocational educational institutions may also offer the ROTC if they have at least 350 cadet students. No? So in offering the NSTP, whether during the semestral or summer periods, clustering of affected students from different educational institutions may be done, taking into account logistics, so branch of service, and geographical considerations. Schools that do not meet the required number of students to maintain the optional ROTC and any of the other components shall allow their students to cross-enroll to other schools, irrespective of whether or not the NSTP components in said school are being administered by the same or another branch of service of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the CHED, and the TESDA, to which school are identified. In Section A, fees and incentives, higher and technical vocational institutions shall not collect any fee for any of the NSTP components except for basic tuition fees, which shall not be more than 50% of what is currently charged by the school per unit. But since President Duterte signed the decree na all state universities and colleges no tuition fee, so we do not collect fees on NSTP. In case of ROTC, the DND shall formulate and adopt a program of assistance and incentive to those students who will take the said component. So the school authorities concerned, CHED, and TESDA shall ensure that group insurance for health and accident shall be provided for students enrolled in any of the NSTP components. Kasi we are going out, we have community involvement, so that's why we have to get an insurance. Okay. Then in Section 9, scholarship, there is hereby created a special scholarship program for qualified students taking the NSTP, which shall be administered by the CHED and TESDA. Funds for this purpose shall be included in the annual regular appropriation of the CHED and TESDA. So, since wala na po tayong tuition fee, wala na rin po tayong scholarship for CWTS. Section 10. Management of the NSTP components. The school authority shall exercise academic and administrative supervision over the design, formulation, adoption, and implementation of the different NSTP components in their respective schools, provided that in case a CHED or TESDA accredited non-government organization has been contracted to formulate and administer a training module for any of the NSTP components, such academic and administrative supervision shall be exercised jointly with that accrediting NGO, provided further that such training modules shall be accredited also by the CHED and TESDA. So in Section 11, creation of National Service Reserve Corps, there is hereby a credit created a National Service Reserve Corps to be composed of the graduates of the non-ROTC components. So member of this corps may be tapped by the state for literacy and civic welfare activities through the joint effort of the DND, CHED, and TESDA. So graduates of the ROTC shall form part of the Citizen Armed Forces pursuant to Republic Act number 7077. Section 12, Implementing Rules. The DND, CHED, and TESDA shall have the joint responsibility for the adoption of the implementing rules of this Act within 60 days from the approval of this Act. So in Section 13, Transitory Provisions. So students who have yet to complete the basic ROTC except those falling under Section 14 of this Act may either continue in the program components they are currently enrolled or shift to any of the other program components of their choice, provided that in case of he shifts to another program component, the basic ROTC courses he had completed shall be counted for the purpose of completing the NSTP requirements, provided further that once he has shifted to another program component, he shall complete the NSTP in that component. For example, nag-enroll ka ng ROTC, one SEM lang, ayaw mo na, lumipat ka ng CWTS, pwede yun, as long as you completed the ROTC. Okay? Then, Section 14, Suspension of ROTC Requirements. The completion of ROTC training as required for graduation is hereby set aside for those students who, despite completing all their academic units as of the effectivity of this Act, have not been allowed to graduate. So, wag nyo smulin ang NSTP kasi it's a 3-unit subject, hindi ka gagraduate kung hindi mo ipapasa. Section 15, Separability Clause. If any section or provision of this Act shall be declared unconstitutional or invalid, the other sections or provisions not affected thereby shall remain in full force and effect. Section 16, Amendatory Clause. Section 35 of Commonwealth Act of Number 1, Executive Order Number 207 of 1939, Section 2 and 3 of Presidential Decree Number 1706, and Section 38 and 39 of Republic Act Number 7077, as well as all laws, decrees, orders, rules, and regulations, and other issuances inconsistent with the provision of this Act are hereby deemed, amended, and modified accordingly. So, the Section 17, Effectivity. This Act shall take effect 15 days after this publication in 2 newspapers of national circulation, but the implementation of this Act commenced in the school year 2002 to 2003. So, NSTP started in 2002 or 3. So, this was consolidated and finally passed by the House of Representatives and Senate last December 19, 2001. So, this was approved in January 23, 2002 by the President, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Okay? So, here in PUP Taguig, only CWTS is offered. But in the main campus, we offered ROTC, CWTS, and LTS. For your quiz, discuss the 3 program components of NSTP. Write it, handwritten, put it in a bond paper, then pass it at 1 day after you watch the video presentation. Thank you very much and good day.